Dr. Karwana Irving is a distinguished government contract strategist and the CEO of She's Got Goals, LLC, based in San Francisco, California. With over a decade of experience in business development, she has empowered more than 4,800 small business owners to become pre-qualified for government contracts, collectively adding over $20 million to their revenues in the past year alone. As an author, business expert, and motivational speaker, Dr. Irving is dedicated to helping women and minority entrepreneurs achieve financial freedom through government contracting. Her expertise has been featured on major platforms such as CBS, NBC, Fox, and the List TV show. And she shared stages with influential leaders including Les Brown and Dr. George Frazier. Through She's Got Goals, LLC, Dr. Irving offers comprehensive training and resources designed to simplify the complexities of government contracting, enabling small business owners to secure lucrative opportunities and scale their enterprises effectively. And before we hop into the podcast, a quick word from our sponsor, Deep Wealth and the Deep Wealth Mastery Program. We have William, a graduate of Deep Wealth Mastery, and he says, I didn't have the time for Deep Wealth Mastery, but I made the time and I'm glad I did. What I learned goes far beyond any other executive program or coach I've ever experienced. Or how about Bruce? Bruce says, before Deep Wealth Mastery, the challenge I had with most business programs, coaches, or books was that they were one-dimensional. Through Deep Wealth Mastery, I'm part of a richer community of other successful business owners. The idea shared forever changed the trajectory of the business, and best of all, the experience was fun. And we'll round things out with Stacy. Stacy said, I wish I had access to the Deep Wealth Mastery before my liquidity event, as it would have been extremely helpful. Deep Wealth Mastery exceeded my expectations in terms of content and quality. And you know what, my Deep Wealth Nation, why they're saying this is because Deep Wealth Mastery, it's the only system based on a 9-figure deal. That was my deal. And as you know, I said no to a 7-figure offer, and I created a system that we now call Deep Wealth Mastery that helped myself and my business partners welcome from a different buyer, a different offer, a 9-figure exit. So if you're interested in growing your profits, preparing for a future liquidity event, if that's 2 years away or 20 years away, and you want to optimize your post-exit life, Deep Wealth Mastery is for you. Please email success@deepwealth.com. Again, that's success, SUCCESS, at deepwealth.com. We'll send you all the information about Deep Wealth Mastery, otherwise known as Scale for Ultimate Sale. That's where you want to be. You want to be with other successful business owners, entrepreneurs, and founders just like you who are looking to create market disruptions, and they want to lock in their financial freedom and have success and fulfillment. That's the 90-day Deep Wealth Mastery Program. It has your name on it. All you need to do is take the next step. Send an email to success@deepwealth.com. Deep Wealth Nation, welcome to another episode of the Deep Wealth Podcast. You know me, I love my rhetorical questions. Are you looking to grow your business? Are you looking to significantly enhance your profits, change lives, and make a difference? And of course, you said yes, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Well, what if you could do that? What if you could find a way that would be effortless and with ease? That's exactly what we're going to be talking about today, but I'm going to put a plug in it. Dr. Karwana, welcome to the Deep Wealth Podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to have you with us. And Deep Wealth Nation, we have a fellow entrepreneur in the house. We have a fellow podcaster, thought leader in the house of Deep Wealth. We have a lot of exciting things to talk about today. But let me ask you this, Dr. Karwana, there's always a story behind the story. So what's your story? What got you from where you were to where you are today?
So when I first started my business, I was actually 27 years old. That was like over 20 years ago. But I really initially started my business because I wanted time freedom to be able to raise my then very beginning young family. But also I wanted to be able to use my experience and the skills that I had. Because coming out of college, I wasn't able to get a job in my industry, which was mass communications, like that's media and broadcast, without the experience. I didn't have experience coming out of college. And so I ended up working a job in a communications firm doing customer service, which I was one of the top paid people in the customer service field. I guess I don't know if it was SBC, Pacific Bell. They've changed and evolved over the years. But anyways, so 9 years into the company, I realized that I felt like a robot. I got up every day to go to work, barely had time to come home and cook, go to sleep, up, repeat the same thing. And I'm like, this can't be what the American dream promised a college graduate. I looked around at all the success stories that were out there in the marketplace, and I realized that they were all entrepreneurs. They were not workers. And so knowing absolutely nothing about business, I took the big leap of faith and started my business. And of course, for the first 5 years, I was broke. And so, but that's how I initially started my business. But I also bought into the myth that it's going to take 5 years to really grow a business profitably and to basically go in thinking to bootstrap your way to the top. But it wasn't until 5 to 7 years into the business I realized that all of those things that I was taught was wrong. But that's how I started. Fast forward, of course, now know how to take a business from zero to millions in a year or less. So, and we'll fill in those gaps, of course, during our conversation here today.
Absolutely. So much to unpack there. Love your story. And like so many entrepreneurs, I completely relate to, yeah, the first early years, they were tough. We were, forget being positive. It was negative, all those other kinds of things. So you went through that struggle. But being where you are today, I mean, it's interesting because you're hobnobbing with some amazing leaders out there, some entrepreneurs out there. From a big picture, one of my favorite questions to ask in this kind of situation, it's what some people call Pareto's law or the 80-20 principle. Because I know when I speak to most entrepreneurs, when it comes to government contracts, I typically hear, Jeffrey, it's way too complicated, or it's too slow, or we're not really set up for that. And they talk themselves out of it before they even begin. So,
Yeah.
what would be some of the biggest myths that you're hearing? The 20% of the myths are not true that are causing 80% of the people to say, hey, you know what, not for me. I'm just going to
Yeah.
find business elsewhere. What's going on there?
I believe that, but first, I want to say this before I get into that. Doing government contract or discovering the world of government contract completely not only changed my lives, but it
Mhm.
changed the lives of several entrepreneurs that I've coached over the years. I was barely making $30,000 a year as a new business. And even 5 to 7 years into the business, I was still stuck there, but I was working about 50 to 60 hours a week. And so during that period, I was in the process of getting a divorce. I had all these other things going on in my life. My cars were repossessed and I couldn't pay the bills and the collectors were after me. And I was trying to figure out, what do I need to do to prevent myself from having to go back to work and stay stuck again and while I'm getting unstuck in my business as an entrepreneur. And that's when I met a very phenomenal young man who was a multi-billionaire, first one that I've ever met in my life. And I said simply, I've been struggling in business. I'm chasing customers. I'm overworked. I'm underpaid. And I don't feel like this business is really working for me. And he said, well, that's because you're not doing government contracting. And I said, it was a phenomenon to me because most people don't even know that government contracting is a thing. I did not know that it was a thing until someone exposed me to it. Now, once I learned how to do government contract, I was able to basically take my $30,000 a year business into $300,000 months, into multiple millions, and so on and so forth. Now, I said all that to say that the biggest myths that keeps most small businesses stuck right now is they don't believe that the government will buy from them. I was selling photography services and video production and websites and graphic design. And those are like just not big services, but they pay big bucks for even the simplest things. And so I would say most people talk themselves out of contracting because they think it's complex, and it can be complex. But when you have a clear blueprint, it can transform your life. You will never have to worry about where your next paycheck is going to come from, how you're going to pay your bills, how you're going to create wealth, because the government has all the money. They print it, right? And so not believing that they will buy your stuff is one of the biggest misconceptions, but also in addition to it, thinking that it's more complicated than it really is. So really it's just about having an understanding and knowing where to find the fine blueprint of getting started and navigating through that seemingly complex world. Outside of that, it's just most people think that you have to be into war, weapons, or something like that in order to sell to the government, or you have to already be a multi 7, 8 figure, 9 figure company to do business with a large entity like the government, but you don't. You could be a home-based business, you could be a solopreneur, you could be a mom and pop shop, you could be a single broken person and still do business with the government because it's not about you. It's about the solutions that you bring. And once you understand how to bring a solution to a big problem, they will pay you handsomely.
So let's talk about that. Being in the world of entrepreneurs and business owners, particularly when it comes to government contracts, I hear things, and again, most of these are myths. You'll help us dispel them. Jeffrey, it's fixed. The same companies, they've been doing the same jobs year after year. Everyone knows everyone. I'm the new person, and there's no way they're going to give that to me. I don't have that track record. Or maybe I'm even new in business. Why would they want to go with me? So let's take a step back for a moment. Let's go behind the curtain. So, Dr. Karwana, what specifically would the government be looking for that me, as a newcomer to a specific area, I'm now going to be doing a bid that would have me win a contract and perhaps even winning over someone who's been doing this year after year? What are some of the winning attributes that I need to
Yeah.
prepare for when I'm doing a bid?
I would say competitive pricing, knowing how, having either past performance yourself or knowing how to build a team that has collective past performance is definitely going to be key. And then understanding how to navigate even winning, because there are specific pools of opportunities that are out there. There are multiple seven-figure, multiple eight-figure contracts, and even a small business owner can get it when you know how to properly package yourself. However, some of these large opportunities could be set aside for women in business. So if you have that certification as a certified woman business owner, you can participate in that pool that's less competitive, right? As well as minorities and as well as veterans and LGBT. So they have all of these micro pools of socially economic disadvantaged businesses that makes the competition less competitive, right? So it's just easier to navigate in those particular spaces while you build your capacity, your performance, and then you can compete on a larger scale from there. So it's just really about positioning and understanding how to best present the solution to the problems. Because I look at these contracting opportunities as opportunities to solve a great problem that the government has already earmarked funds to pay for the solution.
And as we record this podcast, times are definitely changing. We're just coming out of the election. By the time this podcast airs, the new administration will now be in the seat. I've been hearing all kinds of things out there in terms of we're going to be cutting back, we're going to be really trimming down things. So,
Yeah.
fact or fiction, where do you see this going? I know it's a tough question. I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
Best guess, though, what are you hearing from your contacts of new administration, a new way of doing things? We're looking to cut down the debt. We're looking to not have people so reliant on the government. Do you see that affecting us? Where does this go?
That's a really great question. A lot of times people make these huge assumptions about things that are happening because of the economy. They're just assumptions. Supposedly there were all these huge cutbacks and shutdowns during COVID, but during COVID, the pandemic, people who were doing government contracting were the ones who were able to 10x, 20x, and beyond their business revenue simply because they had a government contract. While others who were not doing business with the government, they had to shut down their doors. They were losing clients. Their business suffered traumatically, right? So with this new administration, just as the same as any new administration that goes into office, they come with things and issues that they want to solve. When they want to solve those issues, guess what they're going to be doing? They're going to set aside new bills and new budgets to solve that, which is going to be more money being printed to solve those problems. And all of that is going to go fall under the Small Business Act of America, which says that a percentage, which 26% of the government multi-trillion dollar spend must be spent with a small business. And so that right there is huge areas of opportunities. So whenever there's a change, there's also going to be money that follows that change. So you just have to get in where you fit in. And according to the Small Business Act of America, the SBA, a small business is clearly defined by any company that has less than 500 employees and generally makes less than $20 million a year for 5 years straight. So there's a lot of sweet spots for businesses that are typically, between zero revenues to like 20 million. Like, you are a small business and there are opportunities that are coming down the pipeline. So if you can just shut out the noise and just follow the blueprint, you can actually make more money during, these times of change than anyone.
Love that story and so much opportunity potential there. And as the saying goes, we don't know what we don't know. So
Right.
let's not just assume ourselves out of it. And we're going to go behind your secret sauce in just a moment of what you're doing and how
Right.
you're doing that. Generally speaking, though, as I'm listening to this and I'm saying, yeah, Dr. Karwana, I really like what I'm hearing that I could 5x, 10x, 20x, potentially my revenues, my profits. Where do I even look to find these government contracts that I can bid on?
Sure. There generally are three levels to government. There's local, there's state, and there's federal. The opportunities on the federal level, you will go to sam.gov. If you go to that website and look and search for opportunities with exact match, There are over 200,000 opportunities listed every day. And every moment, that site is being updated with opportunities. On the state level, of course, every state has its own portal for bids or procurement. So you will have to go to your state as well as the city and county. Every city and county has their own bidding website as well. But there are so many opportunities that are hitting the marketplace. And many of those opportunities, believe it or not, are being underserved, but or just not responded to because of all of the myths and misconceptions that small businesses have about doing business with the government. They don't think they're qualified. They don't think they can. They think they have to make so much money in order to do business with a big player. And so they leave themselves out. They automatically disqualify themselves. But so I have this boot camp where I walk people through how to get pre-qualified and understanding the value that they bring and how to maximize on that value so that they can have at least $1 million blueprint for doing business with the government. And it's just so amazing that I believe there are so many people who don't really understand what they have, but they know they have a business. You have more than a business. You have an empire when you're doing business with the right entity that can help you not only redistribute wealth from the government to your family and create generational wealth, but just imagine what that does for your community surroundings and the people that you do business with. Now we're stimulating the economy, but you have to put yourself in a position where you're able to redistribute that wealth to the matters where, that's important for you.
Okay, got that. Okay, so big picture wise, it sounds like there's a lot of moving parts. I know you've gone into this, you've simplified it, not to confuse simple with simplicity. You've put
Right.
some structure to it. So, what does it look like when I'm coming to you and saying, okay, love what you're doing? Walk me through your system. I want to become a client. I want to really learn how I can master this. Roughly speaking, how long does it take? What am I doing? What can I expect?
So I generally have a like a 90-day accelerator where we walk people through the entire process over a 90-day period. Now, if you're a high executor, right? If you're a high level entrepreneur who executes, you can get it done faster than 90 days. But generally, getting started, I say give yourself 90 days to really understand and master a system. And there are 4 steps typically that I walk people through. I call it the 4-step BCMP. So B stands for business foundation. You must have a solid foundation in order to be able to show that you have the capacity to prove that you're credible and that you are ready to do business with the government because you actually open yourself up for a windfall of cash flow. So you have to have the right foundation to be able to sustain that and to show that you're ready to take your business to that next level. So business foundation is key. So what goes into the business foundation are proper documentation, having your LLC documents filed, making sure that you have a copy of your operating agreement, making sure that you're filing your taxes, and if not, that you have a date on calendar to actually get those taxes done. So it's all the legal documentation. So when it comes to that. And then C stands for certifications. If you have any socially, economically disadvantaged at all, whether you're a small business that is not making 20 million a year for 5 years straight, or you're a minority, or you're a woman, or you're a veteran, or maybe even an LGBT, right? Any of those, that certification, I call it your golden ticket. It allows you to skip the line and participate in pools of money that the government has already earmarked for your type of business. It's less competitive and they must spend the money. They're obligated. Speaking of that, before I get into the M, I remember about a year ago, one of my colleagues had called me and said they had a friend who had just got started. She was a woman in the government contracting space doing federal contracting as a janitorial business. So she did that. Although she didn't do any of the work, she got paid to hire janitorial companies across the nation. And because she was certified that woman's own small business, the federal government, the Department of Defense reached out to her because they were obligated to spend hundreds of millions of dollars with small businesses that were women owned, but they were underspending in that area and they were not meeting their goal. So they actually awarded her a $300 million contract to sell war weapons to the government. And now, mind you, she didn't know anything about weapons, didn't own a weapon, didn't know what to do with those weapons. However, because she was a woman, they said, well, since we have to spend this money, and if you accept this contract, we'll walk you through what to do and how to do it. Are you okay with that? Of course, yes. So that is the significance of having those certifications. There are opportunities that are out there that you can actually claim, and it'll help you grow your business. So the next step is marketing, right? Doing business with the government, you don't have to have a marketing budget. You don't have to spend money on ads. You don't have to do any of those traditional things to get a traditional client. With the government, they just want to know, what are your skill sets? What problems are you solving? What do you offer? And I show you exactly, especially in a boot camp, exactly how to extract those things that you offer so you can multiply your invoices and multiply your wealth as a return. And so marketing, they must know that you exist. They must know what your offerings are. They must know if you specialize in anything in particular, or also what is your past performance? Who have you done this for before? When you communicate effectively to these agencies, generally what normally happens is you create this ecosystem where they know who you are. And when they have these obligations sitting on their desk, by the end of the fiscal year, when they're like, we're still $100 billion underspending, who do we give this money to? They can pick up the phone and just call you simply because you've kept in touch. So marketing is definitely key. And finally, proposals. Submitting proposals and responding to these proposal opportunities is definitely key to securing those lucrative government contracts, because it demonstrates that you understand the assignment, and that you understand how to put a team together to solve the problem that they're actually looking for. So BCMP, that is the fourth stage or the four pillars to successfully navigating the government contracting space.
So interesting in terms of what's there. It's a whole different world. And Deep Wealth Nation, as you listen to this, let me ask you a question. The first time you went to do anything, whether it was playing your favorite sport or trying something new, or perhaps you're doing a new workout routine, did you do it on your own and you're fumbling along, or did you go, you got a coach, you went to an expert, and it really helped to streamline things through? That's exactly what we're talking about here, because what I'm hearing, the stakes are high. Now, not everyone's going to get a $300 million contract from the
Right.
government to go do something, but the opportunity is there. And why not me? Why not have it be me that does get that $300 million contract,
Right.
or some other very lucrative contract that's going on with that? But it sounds like, one, I've got to be prepared. I have to show up. I have to have all the boxes checked for the government or the agency to be able to work with me, but then I can do what I do best. Now,
Yeah.
in terms of services, one of the other myths that we hear, well, I'm not in weapons, or I don't do defense,
Right.
so
Mhm.
probably can't do anything. Let's dispel that myth right now. So what's really going on with the kinds of services outside
Yeah.
of the military?
Yeah, you will be surprised. So I got actually the first contract that I received was a $70,000 contract for photography services. And it was for 28 days of work,
Mm.
which were so powerful, right? So that's like taking what I was making in a year, working 70 hours a week, and making that in a single month, 28 days, for just 2 hours a day over a 28 period. So that's 56 hours for $70,000. Blew my mind. But they are also buying, in addition to like media services, communications, marketing, for I said photography, but cooking, like catering services. You can bake cakes, you can sell paper clips, you can sell bags of chips, you can sell bacon, sausage, like everything that we consume, from toilet paper to hand sanitizers to cleaning products to lighting, even to podcast services, what we're talking about here. The government actually produced podcasts, and they hire small business owners to hook up their audio and to hook up the microphones and to turn on the cameras and to shoot those podcasts for them. So everything that we consume and utilize as human beings, the government also consumes and utilizes. I have clients that are selling prosthetic wigs to the government. I have clients that are selling how to use PowerPoint trainings, CPR training. So everything. In fact, last week I bidded on a contracting opportunity for a minister of music service, musician, for a 5-year contract. And that bid was like over $1 million for a 5-year period. So that's $250,000 a year. Do I play keyboards? Do I sing in the church choir? Absolutely not. But if you know how to solve the problem and find someone to place there, then you can submit a bid. So you can sell a paper cup and a paper clip to the government. Yeah, they buy it all, literally.
So much out there. And as you're going through this, and you can tell me, Jeffrey, on base or off base, if I'm just getting into business, what better way than to establish my credibility than having a government contract? Or maybe I'm already established in business. I'm looking at a new service or a new product. I'm looking into getting into a new area. Wow, what a terrific way of really going out there, testing that out, taking that experience, having the government logo on the website, taking it out there. So, where I'm going with this, it sounds as though whether it's a startup, whether it's a business that's been in business for decades, it doesn't necessarily matter. If
Yep.
I have the right service, the right
Yep.
product, I
Yep.
have the right way of going about this in terms of the application and the bidding,
Absolutely.
I have an opportunity.
There's definitely opportunity for everyone. So that's why I always say never disqualify yourself. Even if you just started 90 days ago in business, you can actually get a government contract. It's just about understanding the process, knowing how to extract the value and present yourself to the government, and anybody can do this. So generally, there are four levels to business, and primarily most entrepreneurs are at the B2C level, which is business to consumer. They sell to people, and those are the businesses that are affected the most during economic crisis, during pandemics and things of that nature, because people stop spending when they hear things are happening, right? So those are the businesses that are highly sensitive. The next level is B2B, business to business. It's a little bit more one to many, but you're not
Mhm.
selling your time for dollars. Now you're selling your value or your skill set. And then from there, the second highest level of bidding business basically is business to corporate. So corporations, similar to the government, they have an obligation to spend with small businesses and diverse business owners, right? And so those are contracts. Contracts changes your life because these are typically when you're getting into 2 to 5 year of servitude of solving a problem over a period of time, which gives you sustainability. And the number one biggest purchaser of business products and services in the world is the government, which is the highest level of business that you can do, and that is B2G. No one talks about B2G. Business to government is the best way to rapidly grow and scale a small business because one contract could be worth $2.5 million. In fact, the average contract awarded to a single business that is a small business is over $2.7 million a year. So overnight, if you're a six-figure earner, your business could simply become not overnight, but 12 months could be a long overnight, but it seems like it can happen really fast for you. But if you're already a six-figure earner, seriously, within 6 to 12 months, you can become a multi-seven, multi-eight-figure earner just being in the government contracting space, because one good government contract could be worth 10 years worth of revenue for yourself.
Dr. Kwana, you just said something that is so obvious, but because it's so obvious, it's at least to me, it's invisible. Maybe others are going to be saying, Jeffrey, yeah, I saw that the whole time. So we've heard of B2C, we've heard of B2B. I
Yeah.
really haven't heard much about B2G, business to government. And that's
Mhm.
exactly what we're talking about here. And you're right, it is such an underserved, overlooked area brimming with opportunities. And it sounds like it is just about in every area that we can think of. And again, what we don't know, we don't know. So let's not assume. And so let me ask you this. When I go through your program, a little bit of your secret sauce, when all is said and done, I've gone through the coaching, I've gone through the program, I've done brilliantly in it. What can I expect coming out of it? What will I be able to do?
Yep.
How will that go for me? And I know you could say,
Yep.
Jeffrey, wow, what a general question. It depends on the business, depends on the industry.
Yeah.
Come on, help me out here a little bit. But that said, generally speaking, back of the envelope, once I've completed your training, your programs, what should I be expecting? What should I be looking for?
You can expect to know how to find the best match opportunities that are out there for you. You can expect to know how to respond to those opportunities with your proposals and how to basically streamline the proposal writing process, understand how to properly price, profit, and submit proposals. So, price, profit, and submit proposals, because when you do that, you can have a predictable income revenues based off the percentage of wins. And so we show you how to baseline win 10% when you're getting started of the all the opportunities that you put out into the marketplace, and then grow from there, because through the iterations you'll get better at solving the problem. And so it'll go from 10%, maybe 20, to 20 up to 30% win. So if your goal is to win 10 contracts, we'll show you how over that 12-month period to basically put in 100 contracts over that 12-month period, and show you how to do that in an effective, streamlined process where you're confident. So you can walk away understanding how to bid. When you know how to bid, you know how to make money. When you know how to make money with the government, you will never have to worry about finances again. But also, the new problem will be, what do I do with all this new wealth that I've created? And so at that point, then you'll have another problem that you'll need to solve internally.
So we've spoken a lot about myths, how as entrepreneurs we're taking ourselves out of the game before we've even entered the game. But that said, as you look back on your journey with the clients that you've helped, the entrepreneurs that you've met, the success stories that you've heard, but possibly even the ones that we haven't heard,
Mhm.
is there one big or two big mistakes or misconceptions that as entrepreneurs we really need to change our mindset or stop thinking about? Are there the same mistakes that you're seeing again and again that are really holding us back instead of putting us forward?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest mistakes that I see entrepreneurs make is failure to invest in themselves,
Mm.
simply because they believe that money is I don't know, the gold at the end of the rainbow or whatever, but it's not. It's a tool. And so when you look at money as a tool to learn how to make more money, it changes the game of the landscape. And I see so many people say, like, there are a bunch of different classes and educational programs out there. But of course, none of these things are free because you're learning how to make hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars, even on an annual or even on a monthly basis, depending on your business and the scope of services that you're looking to offer. So there's going to be a little bit of an investment upfront. Most people make the biggest mistake of not believing in themselves enough to make the investment into something that's going to change the landscape of their family's legacy financially in the government contracting space. That's the number one biggest hurdle that I see most people struggle with. But also outside of that is just most people go into business thinking about how they are going to do this rather than who do they need to connect with? Teamwork makes the dream work. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's so, so true that you could be making money with the government without even lifting a single finger doing the work. When you build your team, because I can be here, I'm in California. I could be here in California and have a government contract over in Texas where I'm not even in Texas and doing something like janitorial. I don't do janitorial, but I know how to find a janitorial company in Texas. When you get out of your own head and thinking about just yourself and think about sharing the wealth, you can make money all over the United States simultaneously when you think about teamwork. So there's one book that I read that kind of helped me understand how teamwork is so key. It's Who Not How. I think it was by Dan Sutherland. I can't remember exactly who wrote that book, but he talks about who, not how. Not how am I going to do this, but who do I need to partner with, connect with, learn from in order for me to do this successfully. So definitely that's one of the biggest hurdles is just people just thinking small instead of thinking big.
Absolutely love that. And Deep Health Nation, I really hope you're paying attention to that. And Dr. Karwana, I got to share with you that quote, when the team works, the dream works. That's one of my favorite quotes. I wish I invented that. I didn't, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Maxwell that had done that. But, as you're talking about that, I'm actually thinking about step 6 in the Deep Wealth 9-step roadmap. And step 6, it's the advisory team. Now,
Mhm.
Deep Wealth in our 90-day mastery program, when a business owner is looking to grow profits today and prepare for hopefully a lucrative exit down the road,
Yeah.
they'll prepare that advisory team to help them in the exit process.
Mhm.
But to your point, before we get there, we need to surround ourselves with the right team. And that takes me to step 2 X factors, and that's our culture and our leadership. So in
Yeah.
this case, Dr. Kwana, what I'm hearing is as a business owner, I can really master the area of government contracts. I'm now enriching my culture. I'm surrounding myself with experts like yourself, for
Mhm.
myself, for the team. You're going to help us, really coach us, train us how to do this successfully so we can
Right.
rinse and repeat month after month, year after year, and really add to the revenues and the profits. So, Deep Wealth Nation, this is a whole new area. If you haven't considered B2G, why haven't you done it? Why haven't you explored this to see where it goes? Nothing ventured, nothing gained, as the saying goes.
Right.
And so that said, Dr. Kwana, my goodness, we're starting to bump up against some time. I know there's questions that I didn't ask, but let me ask you this. Is there one particular question I didn't ask that you'd like to put out there, or a message to the Deep Wealth community, or a specific topic that we haven't yet spoken about?
I think a lot of times people ask when's the best time to get started in the government contracting space. And I say today is the best time, right? Because they're spending 365 days of the year. And why wait? And I love that you talk about having an exit plan. even if you're just starting in business, I highly recommend that you start your business with an exit plan. You got to know how you're going to get out of it. And growing your business and scaling your business to hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars with government contracts should be a part of your exit plan, because who's going to fund your retirement? Who's going to fund that legacy? Who's going to fund your generational wealth pot that you're going to pass down for generations to come? Well, who better than a player like the government? And so the government contracting opportunity is there to help you properly basically prepare for the future so that you maintain control of how you want to live for the rest of your life and then what's going to happen beyond that. And so that's basically it for me. I think that a lot of times people, they want to know when, how soon should they get started, or could they get started, or should they start today if they don't have all their documents? I say just start where you are and start today. Just make the decision to do so, because that is going to be the decision when you look back a year from now. You're going to know that was the moment that everything changed for you.
It's so interesting. Two things actually come to mind as you're sharing that. And so the first thing, if I can enhance what you're saying, the best
Mhm.
time is to start today. I agree. All we have is today. If
Yeah.
we're honest about it, though, the best time to start was yesterday or the day before that or last week or
Yep.
last month. We can't do that. So the
Yep.
next best time is today. We should be jumping on that. But what I'm hearing, and it's been a constant theme that you shared with us, it's all about mindset.
Mhm.
Mindset is so important. In fact, a shameless plug to the Deep Wealth Mastery Program. Step 5, winning mindset. We talk all about
Yes.
that. But I'm hearing you say this really through and through. Hey, you've got to have the right mindset. Maybe you don't know how to do it, but I'll help you figure out how to do that. Maybe you're not doing government contracts
Mhm.
right now, but I will help you get there. We'll figure this out.
Absolutely.
But if you don't have the right mindset, well, it's over before it's begun. And
Absolutely.
as entrepreneurs, mindset is everything.
It
One
is.
of my favorite books, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, and I'm
Mhm.
paraphrasing a little bit, our
Yeah.
inner thoughts, what we're thinking on the inside, the story we're telling ourselves over
Become.
time, eventually that's what we manifest in our outer
Yep.
world.
Yep.
So if it's, hey, I can do it, yeah, we're going to do it. Or if it's not for me, too complicated, not sure where to begin,
Yeah.
guess what?
You're
Not
not
going to
going to do
happen.
anything.
So
Yep.
I love how you're really infusing and instilling that mindset, but not just any mindset, a winning mindset in
Mhm.
all that you're doing. And before we go into wrap up mode, is there a favorite success story that you can share with us from one of your clients who maybe started over here with very little and boom, had a
Yeah.
terrific success story, a government contract, and all the good things that go along with that?
Absolutely. So, about a year ago, I was working with a client who just happened to be a traveling nurse. Her goal was to leave her job. So, she was a traveling nurse. She wanted to leave her job. She saw an ad about getting pre qualified for government contracts. She went through the 5-day boot camp, and then she accelerated into having me coach her over the 90 days. Her name is Kim. So, she was a very high executor. So, the very first contract that she was awarded was within 6 weeks into the program. Like I said, if you're a high executor, this can happen much faster for you, right? 6 weeks into learning how to do this, she landed her first contract, and it was for $23,000 for a 1 hour training workshop. So for 1 hour of just standing and talking in front of government agents, she was paid $23,000. Then she went on to actually land a contract that was 175,000, like about 3 months later. And then a year from then, doing the exact same thing, the contract was over $2.7 million. She walked away from her job, and now she's doing this full time. And it was with the Department of Defense,
Wow.
agencies that you wouldn't even think will buy your stuff. Not even, they wouldn't even come to mind to do something like that with the Department of Defense, but they are already waiting for your expertise to solve the problems that they already have. And so that's one of my favorite success stories, because it shows the evolution of no matter where you are in your business or what your goals are, you can actually leverage government contracts to make all of your dreams come true.
So amazing. And as you're sharing Kim's success story, believe it or not, you're taking me back to my grandmother. When I was little, she always would say, Jeffrey, if you don't ask, you'll never know. So always ask. And Kim's story, wow, what a terrific story. Traveling nurse said, hey, one day I want to have my own financial freedom, my own independence.
Yeah,
I want to set my own schedule. And didn't happen overnight, but lo and behold, $2.7 million contract a little
right.
while later. Dreams do come true. And that's what's so amazing about
Yeah,
being in America, having capitalism really working, and we're changing lives. We're making it for the better. So, what a
absolutely.
terrific success story. And that said, it's an incredible segue as we go into wrap up mode. And Dr. Karwana, I have the privilege here to ask every single guest the same question. It's our tradition here on the Deep Wealth Podcast. It's a
Okay.
really fun question. I'm going to set this one up for you. So imagine now it's tomorrow morning and you're looking outside your window and you have that fabulous DeLorean car from the movie Back to the Future that can take you to any point in time. So you go outside, you hop into the DeLorean car, and you're now going to go to any point in time. Dr. Quantum, perhaps it's when you're a young child, a teenager, whatever point in time it would be. What would you tell your younger self in terms of life lessons or life wisdom? Or, hey, Dr. Quantum, do this, but don't do that. What would that sound like?
I think for me, every experience that I've had made me who I am today and prepared me for the person that I am today. So I don't think I would change a single thing, but I would want to know about the world of government contracting, creating wealth differently earlier. I wouldn't want to know about these things. I wish I would have known about these things in my early 20s when I was trying to find a job rather than trying to start a business. But absolutely, even the good, bad, the ugly, it all made me prepared for the wealth that I'm able to experience today. I don't think I would appreciate it as much had I not gone through the hardships that I've gone through. So that definitely would not change a thing.
It's so interesting because as you share that, so firstly, I love how you're saying, hey, just be more curious, explore, see what's going on there. But at the same time, I'm also going to say, I wouldn't be where I am today if not for, yes, the successes, but also the so-called setbacks at the time, which really set ups for the success I have today. And
Exactly.
that is the most popular
Yeah.
theme with the guest, Jeffrey. I don't think I would change a thing. I love my life. I love where I am. I leave it exactly as it is. And really, it's a wonderful reminder that we should enjoy the journey, make the most of it, be in
Yep.
the present moment. That's all that we have. And
Yep.
before we officially wrap up, if a listener, they have a question, they want to reach out to you, they want to perhaps go through one of your training programs or have you coach them, where's the best place online that they can find you?
Yes, definitely. I would highly recommend that you join me in the 5-day boot camp at govconchallenge.com. That's GOVCON challenge.com, because that's where you're going to truly understand how much value that your business have, but also what your earning potential is, right? In a very short period of time, how that can change your life. So govconchallenge.com. I'm also on YouTube under Karwana D. So you can Google me on YouTube, as well as on Instagram under Karwana D Speaks. So you can follow me on Instagram, watch some of my free content on YouTube, and join me in the boot camp where we're actually changing lives. And our goal, my mission, the upcoming year is definitely to help 1,000 entrepreneurs, small business entrepreneurs, secure 1 million in government contracts. That is 1 billion in economic impact across the nation. And so if you would like to join us on that mission and be a part of one of the recipients who we're going to teach in a 90-day program how to actually pitch and win government contracts, start at govconchallenge.com, because that is the segue into our 90-day program.
Absolutely love that. And Deep Wealth Nation, it doesn't get any easier. Go to the show notes. It's a point and click. It's all there for you. Well, Dr. Karwana, it's official. This is a wrap. Congratulations. And as we love to say here at Deep Wealth, may you continue to thrive and prosper while you remain healthy and safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So there you have it, Deep Wealth Nation. What did you think? So with all that said, and as we wrap it up, I have another question for you. Actually, it's more of a personal favor. Did you find this episode helpful? Have you found other episodes of the Deep Wealth Podcast empowering and a game changer for your journey? And if you said yes, and I really hope you did, I have a small but really meaningful way that you can actually help us out and keep these episodes coming to you. Are you ready for it? The dramatic pause. I'll just wait a moment. Drum roll, please. Subscribe. Please subscribe to the Deep Wealth Podcast on your favorite podcast channel. When you subscribe to the Deep Wealth Podcast, you're saving yourself time. Every episode automatically comes to you. And I want you to know that we meticulously craft every one of our episodes to have impactful strategies, stories, expert insights that are designed to help you grow your profits, increase the value of your business, and yes, even optimize your post-exit life and your life right now, whatever you want that to look like. And every time you subscribe and a fellow entrepreneur subscribe, it's a testament to how together, yes, we are changing the social fabric of society. One business owner at a time, one liquidity event at a time. So don't let the momentum stop here. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast channel. You'll never miss an episode. You'll be the first to hear from the top industry leaders, the innovators, the disruptors that are really changing and shaping the business world. And maybe you're commuting, maybe you're at the gym, maybe you're taking a well-deserved break that we spoke all about on this episode, the Deep Wealth Podcast. It's your reliable source for the next big idea that could literally revolutionize your business. So once again, please hit that subscribe button, stay connected, inspired, and ahead of the curve. And again, your next big breakthrough moment, it might just be one episode away. Maybe it was even this episode. So all that said, thank you so much for listening. And remember, your wealth isn't just about the money in the bank. It's about the depth of your journey and the impact that you're creating. So let's continue this journey together. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for listening to this episode. And as we love to say here at Deep Wealth, may you continue to thrive and prosper while you remain healthy and safe. Thank you so much. God bless.